Hello, good afternoon. We're RedSky Studios and we want to thank you for your time today to let us pitch our idea to you about our film Paul's Bros.
So we're a bunch of A-level media students. I'm Ben, this is Ethan, that's Oliver. We also have Brandon in our group who can't be with us today because he's basically ill like the rest of us are.
So our assignment was to create a 2 to 4 minute horror trailer for a new film.
So our synopsis for our film, we took a bit of time on to get perfect so we can get over to the audience what it's exactly about. Our synopsis: best friends Greg and Michael embark on their daily fitness regime when suddenly they're led astray by a hidden past of an abandoned house. As curiosity turns to terror, a demonic spirit threatens to tear their childhood friendship apart.
Right to play the trailer?
Just play a bit of it.
During afternoon tea, there's a shift in the air, a bone-trembling chill that tells you she's there. There are those who believe the whole town is cursed, but the house in the marsh is by far the worst.
So that was the trailer for another one of Daniel Radcliffe's many hits, The Woman in Black, which is a film that we are very heavily influenced by for our production, because we want a very similar vibe to that in the sense of an old abandoned house, there's a spirit involved, something's not quite right, and you slowly unravel what that is.
Yeah, we were also influenced by this trailer due to the heavy conventions that it uses. Like, the 3 main conventions that we want to use is the abandoned house female spirit and a main character of a male. It's the perfect trailer that we need to follow and take some hints off to get our pitch over to you.
So these are our main characters. Best friends Michael, Clark and Greg Alexander.
Michael is the outgoing, more confident person, and he's very sociable in society.
Unfortunately, he has had some downtimes in his life. His brother sadly passed away during the armed forces, fighting for his country. So he's now at home with his mum, very much your stereotypical man of the house, looking after his mother.
But with this, due to his age, he's very arrogant, and he thinks himself as a ladies' man. Due to this, he's very unloyal, arrogant.
And you're playing it.
So he's a very sporty person. One of the top in his class in his football team as well. But unfortunately for him, he's one of the worst when it comes to classroom subjects. He's achieved some of the worst grades.
Our second main character, Greg Alexander, is very much the opposite of Michael. He's very shy, and he's not very confident at all. However, and his parents, they unfortunately gave him away for adoption only after a few months of being born.
He also did have a younger sister, but sadly, similarly to his parents, she passed away shortly after that. Shortly around the same time, but his parents passed away.
So he now lives with his foster parents, but they've never told him how his parents or sister died. But Greg is one of the top in his school, achieving some of the best grades, so getting completely opposite to Michael.
So thinking along the lines of what the characters are going to wear in the scenes that we have, as you can see, these are 2 sets of clothing that each character will wear, and you'll see in our trailer.
So as you can see, the first scene is when the 2 boys are jogging, and we wanted to match their clothes up with their personality. So we went for Michael as being the more outgoing person, he's wearing like name clothes, so like Nike. But then Greg is wearing more more boring clothing, so like plain black baggy trousers and old-fashioned trainers as well.
We also have the thing with Michael being a more confident person. He'll wear like shorter sleeve clothes, so in his mind he's showing off his muscles. He's trying to get a girl.
Are you playing this?
I am.
Really appropriate.
Yeah.
So again, these, because they're trapped in the house for the rest of the film, they only have really 2 sets of clothing. So these again more name clothing for Michael and boring plain clothing for Greg.
So, with every film trailer, we want to get some props, but we don't want to make it too hard for ourselves to get complex props that are going to be hard for us to get our hands on. So we want to make it simple yet effective at the same rate.
So our first part, we've got an old broken photo frame, and we know there are a couple of members in our group that have one of them, so we've had permission to use it.
We also plan on having a newspaper article from around the time of the deaths from around the time of the parents' and sisters' deaths. We'll basically be reporting about the deaths. We've been in contact with the Birmingham Mail, and they're going to basically produce the news article for us once we've designed what we want to have on it.
We're also going to need some fake cobwebs. It shouldn't be too hard to find. We've already got some information on where we can get these from and where they are most effective.
So torches, everyone's got a torch in their house, so that won't be too hard to find. And then a mobile phone, we've all got phones, so pretty easy. And then the voice recorder, we know music have one of them, so I'm sure they'll let us have one.
For location, similarly to Adam and Josh, we've been in contact with Castle Bromwich Hall, and we've also been given the okay to use the gardens around the outside. However, roughly a week before we do go there to film in November, we will be phoning up again to see if we're allowed to use the inside of the building as well, purely because I suppose crashing someone's wedding with photo frames of the haunted girl isn't the best thing to do.
We've also chosen a library to go to for one of our scenes being on the trailer, being a library scene. We've currently got in contact with people at the council that can allow us to use that. We're currently waiting on a reply for a confirmation, but we do have multiple phone calls and emails back leading to that.
So another location is my house, where where one of the boys live, and that's kind of the start scene where they go jogging from my house.
So second location where we wanted to make the main part of the trailer in was this house. It's currently located in Moseley, and we found it in a Daily Mail news article. We did get in contact through the Daily Mail and to the author of the article. Unfortunately, it's now being renovated and bought by more people. So we have been doing some deep research into where we can use. So, how did we come up with Rose? Well, Rose.
So we need a camera.
Not now, Morgan. I'll speak to you tomorrow.
So, Rose is the main subject in our film. Rose is somewhat connected with one of our main characters, and their mission is to try and find out why she's there, and who she is, and how she's connected.
So our target audience, we aim for both genders, again between the ages of 16 and 34. But the reason we chose these ages was because we researched on it and we found out that between these ages are the most likely to visit cinemas. From the past year, the highest percentage of people that visit cinemas.
We did an interview with Mr. Webley up in the study room about what he likes about horrors, what he doesn't like, things he'd like to see, and his opinions on horror movies in general. We thought doing an interview would be much more effective than, say, a focus group, because I know from experience, if you do a focus group, you're more likely to get one person that will give you an answer, and everyone will just say, yeah, what he said. So we felt that doing an interview would get us more in-depth and more detail, especially seeing as we did 3 of them, and this is one of them.
We won't play it, but what we did find out, what he said, was that there are a few things that he likes. So he likes the more gory films, so like Saw, but he also said there's things he doesn't like. He doesn't like in between scenes where you can suddenly get a romantic scene, even when they're running from a killer or whatever. And we also, from the questionnaires we handed out, we found out that a lot of people expect to see films in a haunted house or in an abandoned house. So that's one of the main reasons we chose that location. So we've each put in our own efforts to get things done. So I took it upon myself.
The motley crew.
So I took it upon myself to make the whole shot list, which I've got here. So I've done that. There's about 70 shots, and it's got the shot size, how long the shot will be, the duration, and what will be happening in the shot.
My main focus was the locations and sound that we're going to use in the trailer. I did a lot of research on premises that we can film on, premises that are owned, and how we would get in touch with them. Sound, I researched many trailers to see what they use and how they use them to get across to the audience what that genre is. I also, as you can see in front of you, there's a logo. I also created that to fit our production company and how we can make ourselves stand out.
I've been covering the more artistic designing sides of our production so far, so as you've seen the storyboard there, which is still a work in progress. And so that's catching up, using everything that's on the shot list, doing a drawing for each of those shots, and then each time one of the sheets is completed, Ethan's filling out the rest of the annotation and the detail.
So I was thinking, how have we actually developed since AS, where we made our opening 2 minutes? So I said that I was more in the background, I didn't really do much researching, and I definitely didn't help that much with the shot list. But this year I've changed and decided to do it all by myself.
This year I've also stood up with the mark of coursework and the importance of the work behind the camera, what you have to do to produce a good quality piece, and by doing that I've focused more on my blogging, researching, and what I can do individually to help my group, because at the end of the day it's all about the product that you see in front of you, but the hard work behind it is more than everything.
And in a similar way to both Oliver and Ethan, I've become a lot more hands-on this year as opposed to last year. I think Josh will definitely agree that I really didn't contribute a lot to our production last year. So this year I've been taking a more hands-on approach, getting more involved, coming up with more ideas, which seems to be a lot of what we've done. Not to say that we don't put careful detail in, but we won't spend ages thinking about something. It will be more like, we'll think of something and then we'll just be like, yes, that's it, we'll go with that, it sounds brilliant. So it's been a lot more like that. And I think our trailer is going to be effective because we've done a lot of audience research, so we know what our members of our audience do and don't want to see. And we're very confident that amongst ourselves we can put all of this together and make an effective horror trailer.
I'd like to thank everyone for their time. I know it's gone past 3 o'clock and you all want to go home.
Yes.
But I'd like to thank you all for being here. And is there any questions that you'd like to ask?
Can we skip this? No, God, I thought again, I remember watching your presentation last year, actually, AS, and you're right, as you said, you've all developed. In terms of presentation skills alone, it's a completely different group. So, really well done for that. It was really detailed. You all work well as a group, and I know when I walk past Miss Healy's room, you are always in here. And I always think, I think, God, he's got that class again. But I think, you just put that much effort in, and that's shown today with your presentation and your camera shots, it's excellent. One thing I would say is, I understand that you're influenced by Woman in Black, okay? I understand that's the reasoning behind what you want to do, but I don't care about Woman in Black, okay? I care about what you're doing, and it's all about original, isn't it? And I know you're taking influence from Woman in Black, but I don't particularly want to see that in your presentation. Okay, just a word of advice, it's all about you and your presentation. Forget Woman in Black, that's gone. Yours will be better than Woman in Black.